using pizza boxes as tree mulch. Putting it around the trees, cut around there, and I'm going to cover it up with wood chips. Got a big pile of them sitting here. Yeah. That tree doesn't have much. I mean, this is a mulberry tree. Doesn't have the mulch around it because 90% of the time we put, 100% of the time when we put mulch around these chickens scratch it and tear it all up. Every one of these trees has had piles of mulch piled around them all year, and the chickens won't leave them. Won't leave them at all. This one has had mulch about 4 times this year around it. The tree's doing just fine. There's still a pile there, but the chickens just spread it all out. That one needs that lower branch pruned off. Well, since I'm over a minute, and this isn't going to be YouTube Shorts, well, I think I'm going to keep going and do a little bit of a orchard update. So this tree died. This was the one potted tree that we planted 2.5 years ago now. It was the first fruit tree we planted in the orchard, and the only potted one. The rest of these were bare root trees. You can see where we just got some rain. That cardboard was on top of the mulch instead of under it because the chickens, but it prevented the rain from actually getting down there. But if you look, get down at the dirt under it, under that mulch, that dirt was still wet. So that cardboard and the mulch were still keeping the dirt moist, even though it did block out the rain. And this tree, out of all the trees in the orchard, is probably, other than the peach tree that died, probably the one doing the worst right now. This, again, it's a bare root tree. It was, that's an apricot tree, by the way. And when we planted it, it came up to about right here. There's a little knobby growth where it had been cut off before they sent it to us. And it's only gotten maybe 9 or 10 inches worth of growth in a year and a half almost. This mulberry, last year I thought it was dead. The tops had died off. It was down to nothing but the roots. Like, you couldn't see it above the grass. So all of that growth above the ground is from this year. And yes, it's a bit bushy right now. I'm gonna wait for the fall, and then I will clean it, prune it a little bit, clean up some of the lower stuff. It looks like it's gonna end up being a double trunk mulberry unless I can see a good way to prune it. But that's mulberry. This apple was about up to here after last year's growth. It was here when we planted it. It grew pretty good last year, got up to about here. Everything above that is this year's growth. On this one, I think from about here up is this year's. It grew up and then it got a little dry and it was dropping some leaves, and then we got a good amount of rain and got watered again. The same here. This was last year's. This was early in the spring, dried out, and then this is just in the last couple months. So yeah, this is where it was when we planted it. Got to here last year, grew up to here early spring before it got dry, and now all of that since the moisture started coming again. And everything from about here, that's about when we got the truckloads of mulch and started mulching all these real good. And you can see there's almost no mulch left on the ground here, but we've put at least 2 to 3 piles of mulch around this tree this year. And right here, these mulberry trees, this is actually 2 mulberries planted together. And you can see one of them is doing great, and the other one is, well, it's doing good too, but it's not doing quite as good. But I was trying something a little different with these, trying to see if they would do better if they were planted together or separate, or anyways, they're planted together. But these are probably the tallest trees in the orchard right now. with the exception of maybe that apple tree. That one might be taller. I'm not counting the red cedar tree that's been here for years, since before we moved in or bought the property. But yeah, this mulberry is doing great. I think last year it got up to about this point right here. That was about as high as it got last year. All this growth above that. So last year it got up to maybe 3.5 feet tall. Now it's well over 6 feet. So there's been almost 3 feet or just over 3 feet worth of growth on that one tree this year. And this tree here, I thought it was a goner. It was a peach tree, or it is a peach tree. All the other peach trees died off, even the potted one. And this one, it was up to here I mean, when we planted it. It did see a little bit of damage, or had to grow back around the thing, and it had grown up to this point last year. It got broken off, I think, by the horses or something, and then over the winter the horses got in here and ate the tops off a few of the trees. Anyways, that whole section died, and I thought the whole thing was dead. And then this spring, everything from here and actually this one was coming up to about here last year, but everything above that, all of this, all of that has come up just this year. It's a little bit of an ugly tree because parts of it died back. It's not well shaped, needs a bit of a pruning, but I don't want to reduce the vigor of the tree. I want it to grow big and strong, so I will prune it in the fall once it drops its leaves and give it a better shape. And then, of course, when I do that, all of the prunings are going to get put on the ground around the tree to add mulch and feed back to the tree. This tree, another apricot. For some reason, these apricots are really stunted compared to everything else, or they're just taking longer to develop roots before they start growing. But all of my apricot trees are short, not doing much growth. You could see it was up to about here last year. Well, I think, no, it was up to right here when we planted it. Grew up to here last year and has only grown 6 inches or so this year. This branch is all this year's growth. Some of these lower branches that have come out are doing better. And it almost looks like the main trunk line is not doing that great, but some of these side branches from down lower are doing much better. But that's that one not doing. The apricots aren't doing the best. And then this one is a plum. I'm not sure exactly what happened in the middle of it. You know, all the stuff up the middle seemed to have died. There's some damage to that branch. Anyways, this plum needs to get pruned and shaped a little better. This side over here has gotten a lot of good growth this year, but whereas that side in the middle haven't done much. I mean, good growth on this one, but anyways, that's a plum. I believe this is an apricot, but it's a different variety than the other two I just showed you. Let's see, here's the tag for it. Yeah, this is the superb apricot. And it's short and small like the other apricot, but it is bigger leaves and just looks like a healthier plant. Is growing better than the other two apricots, which are a different variety. This would be another plum right here. So we've got Santa Rosa plums. We've got Harlane apricots, which is the one in the corner where that black chicken is, and the one over there by the chicken coop. Those are both Harlane apricots. And then we've got superb apricots and Santa Rosa peaches. I'm actually thinking, based on the leaves, I think this is another superb apricot right here. And that's an apple right there. I only had labels with the bundles of the trees because they came in bundles of 5 to 7 trees per bundle, and they just put one label around them. And so, but just looking at the leaves on this one, and the leaves on this one, I think they're the same variety. But like I said, we've got peaches, plums, apricots, and apples, and mulberries in this orchard so far. This apple here is doing pretty good. It got up to this point last year. Basically everything above that and most of the length on the side branches is all new growth this year. But they were planted last spring in March. We're now into August. So that's what, 17 months, almost 18 months in the ground. I already showed this apple tree. It's doing pretty good. So we planted 3 types of apples, but I only had 1 Red Delicious, 1 Gala, and the rest were Wine Sap. And I believe that what I have left for apple trees are just the Wine Saps. I think the Gala and the Red Delicious didn't make it. This looks like it's either plum or apricot. And over here, this peach, it's going to be interesting to see what it turns out to be, because the graft completely died. You can see here was the graft, and then this came back up from the rootstock. So all of what you see is the peach tree there is just growth straight out of the rootstock. So we've been watering it, we've been mulching it. Not sure what or how good the peaches are going to be off of it. They might be good, they might not. If they're good, great. If not, it'll at least be a cross-pollinator for the other peaches we've got, which at this point is only 1 other peach. This is another mulberry. This one struggled last year. When we planted this tree, it came in the group with the other mulberry trees, but it was only about 6 inches long and not any bigger around than one of these weed sticks. Like this little stick right here, that's about all that tree was when we planted it 17 months ago. And last year it struggled to do anything. It hardly grew at all last year. But this year we've been mulching it ever since spring. We've been doing a lot more to take care of the garden this year. Last year too was really dry. I was hauling water to water this orchard to keep it alive last year. And this one here I know is a plum tree. This is one of our Santa Rosa plums. I got pizza boxes around it, mulch. You can see the pizza boxes were actually scraped away from the tree by the chickens, and one of them was sitting right there. The other one was over where those chickens are now. But yeah, it's doing good. I put some of the ashes from the fireplace. I got it cleaned out and got all the ashes and dumped them around some of the trees. So some of them are on top of the pizza box, some of them under it, whatever. Chickens scratched through it. And but yeah, there is a wasp. I wonder what it's finding. Let's see. Oh, that wasp looks like it found... Nope. Anyways, the other day I got a little video of a wasp killing a caterpillar on one of my trees. The wasp landed on it, stung it about 15 times, and the caterpillar fell to the ground. So those wasps are definitely good for our fruit trees. Okay, this apple tree. Last winter, the horses ate the top of it all the way down to there. It's about 12 inches off the ground. I was not sure if that tree was going to survive. It had grown up a little bit last year, but over the winter, the horses nipped the top off of the tree. And so all the growth on the tree, because there were no side branches, there was just this main trunk down to the ground. So all of those branches coming out of that tree are growth from this year. Every bit of it. I'm surprised how well this tree is done. But you can see I put charcoal around it from the fireplace. We threw some orange peels. It's had mulch. This little fine mulch here. This was out of the brooder box from the chicks and guinea geese. That we had them in the brooder in that, sorry about moving quick, but they were in that tub. So about 3 inches deep of that, with all the manure from the little chicks and the feed they spilled in there, whatever. I dumped it around the tree. I figured it's going to rot down and be a good fertilizer. I had a little bit of chicken manure and some spent feed, and then it's got ashes and charcoal from the fireplace. and some orange peels around it. And it has had at least 2 piles of mulch, of tree mulch, that stuff there around that tree also. Anyways, that's the orchard. I think I covered about every one of the trees. Here we are, middle of August. We just got a good rainstorm this morning, and they're calling for, well, you can see the skies are turning blue to the west. The storm has passed us. That's looking southeast. Looking off to the north, we got blue skies. Yeah, we're done getting rain for the day. The sun is gonna come out, and they're calling for 104 degrees today. Right now it's maybe 75. Yeah, there's another one of our roosters. That hen is, she's looking really bad. The roosters have been getting her a lot, and she was the one that was broody in the coop, hatched out 4 babies and abandoned them a week after she hatched them. She took care of them, showed them what to do pretty good for the first week, and then just abandoned them. And they've been doing fine. They got enough from their mama to survive that first week and to learn what to do, and they've been doing just fine. They're actually, all 4 of them are right here. That's those 4 chicks right there. So yeah, she did good hatching them. I think it's those 4. Either that, no, it's not, sorry. These ones are the ones that hatched out a couple weeks before those. It's these 4 over here, the 4 smaller ones in this group. Sorry. Yeah, so that one, and the 2 by the bucket there. And yeah, and then this mama, she's been doing great with hers. She's been taking care of them. She still covers them up every night, shows them where the food is, digs through it, calls them to her when she finds food, and has really been doing good at teaching them to forage. But yeah, well, before it gets too hot, and I am gonna, while the ground is still wet from the rain, I'm gonna grab a shovel and start moving some mulch around some of these trees. So that's gonna be my project for the next hour or so. There's the rooster right by his mama, and that's his sister, which is another one up here. Anyways, lots of chickens, lots of trees. I think part of the reason our orchard is doing good is because we have the chickens in here scratching it, keeping the pests down on the trees, and fertilizing around the orchard. That and the mulch helping to hold the moisture in the ground, and we're getting good rain this year. So anyways, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I know this one was done vertical. Started out trying to make a YouTube shorts and ended up turning it into a long form. Alright, catch you on the next one.